I assume you can hear me. Welcome. Let's go for a ride in an 8RX, shall we? You can look at this nice storage area we have up here the whole time with nothing in it. I'll show you the planter some. We're planting corn tonight. Has not been the most productive day from a planting standpoint, but we're rolling now. I planted another 32 acres earlier that we had fit up before the last rain, and just kind of been waiting around on tillage and ground to dry today. It's really nice out, and our ground is all drying but not dry, basically. You get to this point in the year and all of our well-tiled farms are planted, so everything that's left is wet farms, and it just takes a little extra time for them to dry out. And it's super frustrating when it's rain coming and you want to plant and there's just nothing that's quite ready, and you push things, and we're doing things in this field that I wouldn't do in April, but 90% of the field or more is good to go, and so we're going to go. This is the field that we were in yesterday when we had trouble getting through with a field cultivator, had all that volunteer wheat that was dying that was plugging up the packer. So we dissed it yesterday, let it air out last night and all morning while we dissed some corn stalks, and then Dad came over here with the field cultivator this afternoon, worked it down. It's much better. It's not perfect, it's not ideal planting conditions, but it's much better than it was yesterday, or than what I thought it might be. So we're gonna get it planted. There's 78 acres in this field. We probably only plant 75 of it, I'm guessing, because we'll have a few spots we gotta go around, but that's okay. So anyway, I'm gonna put you back in your little holder here so that I can make turns and such. I should turn on the turn automation so I don't have to turn, and I can hold you better. Now we'll start getting to your questions. Hello, glad to see you planting. Thank you. Glad to see you in the field. Yep, we're moving. Phil is getting quite a few beans planted today. He's over 100 acres of beans in the ground. We've got a lot of corn stalks that we can disc that are ready to go. The stuff that we dissed last fall and did not run a ripper through, it's a little firmer and it dries a little faster here in the spring. And so Phil's able to get on some of that stuff. We're about to test our luck here with getting stuck. Make great live video. Make a really crappy day for me. I think we're good. That corner over there by them trees is really wet. I already turned through it once. It was not fun. So anyway, yeah, so we've got more corn stalks that we can disc and get stuff ready to go on than what we do untiled fields that were ripped last fall that we need to field cultivate to get corn planted on. That's kind of where we're at. Love your videos. Thank you, Jordan. Time to file them all. It's been a wet year down here in Texas. What's going on? We're planting corn. Oh, from Pittsburgh, PA. Terrible wet. Hard to do anything in the fields yet. Yeah, there's certain areas that it's really wet. East of here is worse. I say that it's down to our last untiled fields, but we do have to go to Berkey and plant corn yet there. We got 280 acres of corn to plant there. Those fields are tiled for the most part. It's just been so much wetter there, and it's heavier ground, and so it hasn't dried out. Nobody has done any work in our neighborhood right there. There's nothing done. It's not just us. It's not that we're here working and missing our opportunities there. There hasn't been an opportunity yet. Word on the hot tractor. Yeah, so if you watch this morning's video, you'll see that yesterday we had the 8430 started to get hot. Had some coolant blowing out the expansion tank, and was concerned that it might be a head gasket. I have not ruled that out yet. However, my Uncle Jack was up today, and we were looking at it and talking about things a little bit more, and talking with Dad and Phil a little bit more, and so I'll explain this again, even though I talk about it in tomorrow's video. But basically, what we think happened is the radiator cap. So that tractor has a radiator, and then it has an expansion tank where the radiator cap is on top of, and then there is, no, not an expansion tank. It has a pressure tank. It's not part of the radiator, but it is attached to the radiator with the radiator cap on it. From there, there is an expansion tank where that tank can overflow into, more or less, and it would be where you check the coolant level and add coolant and that kind of stuff. That pressure tank should be full of coolant all the time. Well, Phil was running it last week one day, and he noticed that it was the expansion tank on the side that's not under pressure was full, and it was coming out of the overflow tube. And so we're like, oh no, what's going on? Are we getting oil in it? Because we've had that on other tractors or combine in the past. And like, what's going on? Well, after some digging and checking, we found out that the radiator cap gasket was cracked. Now, you would be questioning, why in the heck would that make it overfill the expansion tank? Well, what happens is when the coolant gets hot, it expands. That's why there's that tank there. So the pressure tank gets full, it expands, fills up the expansion tank, but then as you shut the tractor off and it cools back down, that coolant shrinks, and it should suck it back out of the expansion tank into the pressure tank and the radiator and keep the system full. But when that gasket cracked on the radiator cap, it allowed it to suck air in instead of pulling the coolant out of the expansion tank. And so, therefore, it was getting air into the system, and the next time it would get hot, it would push that more coolant or more air into the expansion tank, causing that level to rise and for it to blow out the overflow. We caught that. We bought a new radiator cap with a new gasket and everything, put that on, and then I ran it yesterday for 2 hours before it finally said it was getting too hot, overheating. Crap. And so we took it back to the farm, and you could see where it was spewing out of that overflow again and everything, and I thought, oh, something else is going on here. But after looking at it and talking about it some more today, when they filled that pressure, or when they put the new radiator cap on, they did not fill the pressure tank, thinking that it would suck the coolant back out of the expansion tank, but it doesn't really work that way. If you've got air in the system, it doesn't allow it to create that vacuum to pull that back in. It just kind of pressurizes it. And so we added 2 gallons of coolant to that tank today, and I think that may be our problem. It is worth running it again before we call the dealer and have them come and check for head gasket or something more serious. So I'm not ruling it out, but I think maybe it was just low on coolant and that's why it got hot. So I don't know, but that's where we're at with that tractor. Doing the same up in West Michigan near Silver Lake. Sand dunes, yeah, having real issues with flats at the Exactimer tonight. Simulation, good luck to you guys. Yeah, I've noticed that too. The planter doesn't like flats as well as it likes rounds. I really think that adjusting the double eliminator would help. The problem is the double eliminator on these Exactimer meters are extremely difficult to adjust. You have to pull the plates, which means you have to empty all the seed out, and it's a pain in the butt. And I do not like that about this system because you're just not going to do it. I'm going to live with 97.5%, 98% singulation rather than adjust that double eliminator that I have to pull the whole meter apart to get to. So I feel your pain. I've been there. I try and order rounds now. Love the daily videos. How many hours are on that 8th now? And any update on the 8430? I assume by 8th you mean 8RX. What are we at here? 845 on the 8RX, and the 8430 is at 5700. So that one's got a few hours on it. Oh man, I do not like this. Do not like it. Do not like it. We're about to get stuck. Do I tempt fate and pull into that corner, or do we go around? Close enough. I'll show you real quick if I can. That corner there, I cut some ruts doing the ends, and we just kind of needed to pull straight into it. Wasn't going to do it. Too wet. Oh, now I got to do some more end rows, so you guys are going to have to go back in your holder and hang out while I drive on some end rows here. All right, we need a new guidance line, set track, new track, AB curve, track 2, fine, I don't care. Set the planter in the ground, record, start, there we go. any changes coming this season. What kind of changes do you mean? We're doing a few things different. We're doing some foliar stuff different. We got that 360 rain. That's different. That's going to be awesome. That is going to be awesome. So yeah, there's that kind of different stuff. As far as equipment upgrades or anything like that, I don't know. I don't know what the next thing is. We have a long wish list, especially after all the breakdowns we've had this spring. There's a big old rock, bigger than I can pick up, but we got it right between row units. Problem is it's under a tire. There it goes. Okay. Slowed way down for that one. Better come and get it before we side dress. Okay. 8RZ. You were close, man. There you got it. Hope you can get more of your corn planted with your sweet tractor and planter before it decides to rain next time. Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, rain coming tonight, it looks like, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We're going to get what we can done. I should get this 80 done tonight. I don't have anything more I can plant ready. Dad's running the field cultivator, but he's field cultivating corn stalks that were chiseled last fall. Actually, he's doing the field, well, he did the field that we ran that 9RX on last fall. You guys remember that? So, yeah. Some of this is awfully rough. Alright. Does anyone have Starlink and is it worth it? You're not really asking me there, B-Rad, but I have Starlink and I think it's awesome. I probably don't need it. I think I have a couple other options now that weren't there before that are a little more, well, I shouldn't say more reliable than what my previous options were. But Starlink has been excellent. It's been awesome. Any word on your well being done for the Rain 360 yet? Well, the well driller showed up today, so I didn't actually see him drilling. They brought their rig down around noon, and then I went back up there at 4 o'clock to see how they were doing, and they were gone. They hadn't really done anything. They just brought it down and parked it. I don't know if I'm sure they needed to get more stuff, different, another truck or something, whatever it was. We'll see if they show up tomorrow to drill or not, but they are on site, so we are going to have a well. Next thing I got to do is get the pipe around. We'll start working on that as soon as we get a chance. Live from the North Carolina mountains. Hello. Thanks for the live stream. I was thinking about you earlier when I was watching another farm video. Well, good. Can't plant. Guess I'll watch you. I'm sorry you can't plant. How's the 8430? I just talked about it. I hope you saw that. How much you got left to plant? How's the PC doing? PC. What does PC mean? My computer? Is that what you're talking about? Computer's great. Are you the guy that helped me with that 2 years ago when I had trouble? It might be. That's awesome. Anyway, yeah, computer's all good. What else did you ask me? How much do we got left to plant? I added this up before I came to this field. We had 360 acres around home to plant, and then the corn at Berkey there was 280. So, oh crap, we gotta switch guidance lines. So what's call it 280 plus 360? Somebody do that math for me. That's how much I've got left to plant of corn. Really, we could be done here at Waldron with one good day. But the problem is I need 2 good drying days to get that one good day. So, I don't know. And we need one good day at Berkey, but, man, it's got to dry. It's got to dry. Do you any numbers on how many acres it takes to get a return on the 360 rain? I mean, every situation is going to be drastically different. I calculated back what my expected yield gain is and trying to figure out the price of corn and what the payback period was going to be. This was before I had some of the peripheral costs, pipe and well and that stuff figured in, but we were in the 4-year range, 3.5, 4 years for the base machine, I think. I'd have to go back and run the numbers again. And if we get better yields, it could be shorter. If we get poor yields, it could be longer. but that doesn't factor any residual value of what that grain will still be worth if we wanted to sell it, trade it, anything like that. And there's certainly value there. So, I don't know. I would say 5 years conservatively, and that's good. That's good. I do know that for what pivots cost, we're roughly the same cost per acre. Maybe even a touch cheaper by the time you figure out how many acres we're covering versus what pivots would. Well drilled. Not yet, but they're on site. Waiting for some nighttime drone video. Can't fly your drones at night, that's illegal. Unless you get an exemption, but yeah, I understand. I need to get the drone out. The thing is, the fields at Berkey are so much more square and easy that it's easy to fly the drone there, so that's usually where I do it. And maybe I'm not in quite as big a hurry. I don't know. Does your in-furrow and 2x2 have different stuff in them versus last year, or is it just a premix versus you mixing? Yes, they are different stuff. So the 2x2x2 I am still mixing. We're running ATS 28, 1034O, and then I've got a humic acid zinc product, that Ultramate zinc from the Andersons. So the first three of those, the bulk fertilizers, are the same as what there was last year. Last year I used a different zinc product, but still zinc. This one's just a little different one. The in-furrow is a totally different product this year. Last year I used that 721.3 MPK from, or whatever it was, MKP from QLF Agronomy, and I liked that. It was a sugar-based in-furrow. There was nothing wrong with it. I just kind of started working with the Andersons this year, and with that QLF product, I was adding in a carbon humic acid product to it. The Andersons product that I'm using is Season Pass, and it has everything in it, so it's a straight product in there. That's why I changed, because I didn't have to blend anything. I didn't have to worry about mixing, trying to have a pump set up and all that kind of stuff. So just made my life a little bit easier getting the planter loaded, which takes a lot of time. So, but yeah, different products in 2x2 and in-furrow. They're not the same, and the in-furrow is different than last year. The 2x2 is more or less the same. It's a little different ratio with one different product. So they'll tell you to just run it for the rest of the year. If it needs an engine, it'll be replaced anyway. Yeah, they could do that on that tractor. I don't think it's going to need an engine. I don't think we're anywhere close to that. It might need a head gasket. It might need even an overhaul would be surprising to me. So I don't think we're anywhere close to blowing a whole engine. I left the in-laws yesterday and seen a farmer filling his hoppers with X Seed Company boxes, and made me think it was one of your deliveries on M82 west of Coldwater. I took some seed over there to a guy. Who was it? Yeah, it could have been. It's possible. I did one or two deliveries over there. Not a lot totally west of Coldwater. Some down in the Bronson area. I took some up to Teconcha. So yeah, it could have been. Hi Wayne. Does it make a difference if you hit the like at the beginning of the video, or is it best to wait until the end? Don't care, man. Just hit it. I think O'Reilly's has a kit to check for exhaust gases in coolant reservoir. Yeah, that's I've heard that's a thing. I didn't know it was, but yeah, we might have to do some investigating there. Bowling Green, Ohio. Haven't planted a single acre yet this year. 2,800 acres left. Ouch, man. Yeah, I know it's super wet over there. I'm well aware. It's been tough. Northern Ohio in general has been pretty wet. Southern Ohio is really good. They got stuff planted early, got a lot done in April, and they're sitting in great shape. But north of 30, I want to say, it's been pretty wet. Good evening from Central Florida. Planting looks awesome. What's your dad up to? Any news on the well for the rain? Dad is running the field cultivator, trying to keep the tillage ahead of the planters. And the well drillers are on site. So I don't have a well yet, but they're on site. Which is awesome news. quarter of an inch of rain for you Tuesday night into Wednesday. Don't tell me that. We're hoping to miss this. There's some now that's going north of us that we're going to miss, so that's good. We'll see how tonight and tomorrow goes. But we need 4 days of good, sunny, dry weather, and we haven't been able to string them together yet. It rains every other day or every 3 days, and can't get anything done. How's Anna and the Big P doing? Well, Anna does not work for Pioneer anymore. Well, she works for Corteva, but she is on their crop protection on the chemical side, doing a lot of stuff with nitrogen stabilizers, herbicides, fungicides, all that kind of stuff. So her job changed a little bit, so she's doing well though. Have you planted last year's beans samples? No, all those samples we saved from the treatment and stuff last year, they're all in buckets down there. Usually what I do is after we plant the plots, we take all of the mixed seed that's left from that, we throw it in the planter somewhere just to get rid of it. So haven't got the plot in yet, so I don't have all that seed to do that with. Can you say hi to my brother Wyatt? He loves you. Hi Wyatt. Love the videos, thank you. Any update on the tractor with coolant problem, or did John Deere dealer get there yet? To let you know. Yeah. How long ago? Yeah. Hopefully we've covered that in the last 8 minutes, but I did talk about it a little bit. You have a good recommendation on you prefer we support the channel. I can only buy so much merch from Farm Focus. Remember you saying Google takes a lot from super chats. Yeah, well, I appreciate the merchandise. Thank you for that. Super chats, yeah, I think YouTube, Google takes like 35%, so they're much appreciated, but just know they do that. Honestly, the best things that you guys can do to support the channel is to watch the videos. Adam, I know you do that, and I appreciate it. Leaving a comment, liking the videos, helping get it out there so more people see it. That's the single biggest thing. If you want to go above and beyond that, I mean, buying the merch. I don't have a Venmo or a Patreon account or anything like that where you can donate directly. I don't need that, so don't feel the need to do that. But thank you, I do appreciate it. No rain yet in Ohio. Yes, not here. Actually, are we in Michigan? Yeah, we're planting across the state line right now. We're going into both states. We were. Have you heard about the Starlink issues due to solar event? Heard Nebraska GPS went out. I have not had any Starlink issues, and maybe you meant Starfire there. I've heard of some GPS stuff, but I've also heard a lot of guys that didn't. We weren't really working over the weekend when it was the worst, so I didn't have any problems. I have not had any problems today with tillage tractor or the planting tractor or anything. So as far as I am concerned, GPS issues haven't been affected by solar flares. I also have been unfortunate enough not to see the Northern Lights. I was really hoping to, but they haven't shown up yet. Still wet here in Findlay. More rain Tuesday. Glad to see someone on the field. Love your content. Keep going. Yeah, I get it. I know it's wet, man. Well, for the 360, much different than a residential well. Not a lot different other than it's a lot bigger. So they're drilling an 8-inch well. We need about 220 to 250 gallons per minute out of the well, so that's kind of what we're shooting for. And your house well should do like 5 to 10, somewhere in that range. And it's probably a 4 or a 5-inch well. That's the difference. Computer, yeah. Thanks, Scott. Had any GPS issue due to the solar flares? Nope. Are you expecting any early wheat harvest? I am expecting an early wheat harvest, yes. In fact, we looked at the wheat a little bit this afternoon. You'll see tomorrow. Our wheat is heading out here already. Today is May 13th. We're a week to 10 days ahead of schedule on the wheat crop. I am anticipating harvesting wheat in June, which is extremely rare for us. Last time we harvested wheat in June was 2012. I think it was June 20th or 22nd we got started. I don't anticipate it being that early this year, but maybe the 26th to the 28th of June instead of the 4th to the 6th of July, which bodes well for the double crop beans that I'm going to plant and will encourage possibly planting more double crop beans, but we will see. I had planned to do all the stuff down to Berkey, and we have clover seeded in the rest of the wheat. So if we want to plant more double crop beans, we'll have to kill the clover off, and that was waste, but whatever. How much hydraulic downforce are you using? Yeah, this field's a little rougher than what I have been planting in, so I actually cranked the downforce up a touch, the margin, in order to keep those row units setting firmly on the ground. So we are running our margin at 120 pounds, which I'll explain briefly here, or try. Essentially, the gauge wheels, the two wheels on each side of the row, they control the depth of the planter. There is a sensor on them to sense how much weight is pushing them down into the ground. You want weight on those wheels, because if you don't, that means your row unit is riding up and your seed openers are not getting in the ground deep enough, which means you're not planting your corn as deep as you want to and consistently. So ground contact, maintaining ground contact is very important. Now, you don't want excessive downforce and weight on those gauge wheels, because then it will create a compaction zone right next to the seed where the roots won't be able to grow through that later in the season, and it can cause mohawk roots and just overall lack of standability in your corn and lack of ability to get water and nutrients and all the things. So running as low of extra downforce as possible is generally what we shoot for. Normally in our good tilled fields that aren't too rough, I shoot for like 80 pounds of margin. 80 pounds, so margin would be the excess. It takes so many pounds of downforce to get that row unit into the ground and onto those gauge wheels. Anything above that, the weight on the gauge wheels, is considered your margin. I usually try and run about 80 pounds. 80 pounds, that's spread out against both of those wheels. I don't know exactly what the PSI on that would be, but it's relatively low. It doesn't create a ton of compaction. Keeps the row unit solidly in the ground. Here, I'm running 120 pounds of margin, so we're a little bit higher, an extra 40 pounds there. Downforce, let me see, somewhere on here it'll tell me actual downforce right there. 128 pounds. There's got to be something that reads out more than that, isn't there? Huh. Yeah, the high row is at 150, the lows at 112. No, that's margin. That's not high. That's not downforce. But yeah, it says rank 1, 132, 133. That's how much pressure it's pushing down with on the row units, which means it doesn't take a ton to keep them in the ground. If we're trying to keep 120 extra, and we're only using 130, that means it only really is taking about 10 pounds of downforce to keep them in the ground. That's not bad. If you're in a no-till situation and your ground is harder, that number's a lot higher. Phil consistently runs 300 pounds of downforce, maybe 350. 400 is the max. So, and he's not really no-till, but it's a lot harder in the corn stalks that are disc instead of chisel. What did the dealer find out on your coolant issues? Yeah, we didn't address that. We didn't call the dealer today. I'll talk about it again later when. Yeah, I talked about it earlier in the video. I talked about it in the video that I'll post tomorrow. We'll probably do it again, but I'm going to spread it out a little bit in the live here so it's not so repetitive. I know people keep joining throughout. You probably didn't catch it, but remember to bring your merchandise up. I like that light jacket you were wearing the other day. Okay, good. I don't have one of my shirts on right now, but yeah, I got a couple of new shirt designs, or one new shirt design, the Sun logo, Borderview Farm Sun logo on the website. You can go check that one out. We're working on a new design with the 8RX. No, sorry, just the RX. I don't know if I can say 8RX, but anyway, we're working on that design. Should be available shortly. I'm waiting on the new samples to show up. I tweaked some things on the design from the first samples they sent me that I showed to you guys in one of the videos. As soon as I get them and approve them, they'll get them on the website. I will have them put that quarter zip pullover on there as well at that time. So in another week or two, there'll be a lot more stuff. I do need you guys to go and buy stuff though, because my sales have not been great lately, and I hope they don't kick me off the website. Farmfocus.com or borderviewfarms.com. Click on the shop tab or whatever it says, merchandise, and you can get there. That is somebody asked earlier, best way to support the channel, and you know, you can only buy so much merch. I totally get that, but that's about the best way you can do it. And not only are you supporting me, you're supporting Farm Focus. They are a great company to work with. Good people out there. Ben and Morgan own that, and I mean, I just want to sell more to help support them. The money to me is, I don't sell enough to make it a huge driving force to make it like I have to sell this stuff, because it's great, but it's not that much. But the more I can do and everybody else can do, and you know, don't just shop my brand, shop everybody else's stuff too that you follow and watch that's out there, because it supports them and it supports Farm Focus. Talk about the tractor. Oh yeah, talked about the tractor. Oh, sorry. 30 versus 15. Can 30 keep up planted late? Not late. Not late. They can't. I am. I'm pretty much convinced at this point, being second half of May now, we aren't going to do any 30-inch row beans this year. I really wanted to. I had starter picked out. I got 500 gallons of soybean starter in the barn that I was going to use when we planted with this planter, and it's just the later we get, the less I want to do 30-inch rows. I don't have the corn done to be able to say I'm going to spend a day planting beans with this planter. So it's pretty likely at this point that the soybean plot will get put in with the bean planter, and we won't do any 30-inch row beans. Unfortunate, just the way it is, but with soybeans, the name of the game is sunlight capture, right? You have to capture as much sunlight as possible. That's why early planting is so crucial. It's why I planted beans in March, because they're up. They're soaking up the sun right now. None of the other beans are, or they're just breaking through the surface. And so when you go to wide rows and you plant them later, there's less sunlight because you've already missed some because you planted them late. And now you got to wait for that row to close and canopy, otherwise that sunlight's going to hit the ground, and it takes too long. It's not a good idea. So that's why we like our 15-inch narrow rows. There's advantages and disadvantages. The narrower you go, once you get to 7.5, yes, you capture more sunlight, but then you have disease issues and other problems that can arise from 7.5-inch rows. So early, if you can plant beans before the 10th of May, I got no problem with 30s. After that, I back off of them. You realize the 1034O wasn't designed to be a starter. There are better products out there. Okay, great. 1034O works pretty darn good as a starter to get phosphorus into my plants, and that's what I'm using it for. And I'm using it in my 2x2x2, not in furrow. I have a different starter with phosphorus in it in furrow. So yeah, there are other products out there. There are better products out there, especially for in furrow. All of them are significantly more expensive than 1034O. 1034O is a cheap phosphorus source for me, and it's the second stage of my fertility where the in furrow is handing off to the 2x2x2 to get at that next shot of phosphorus, not the initial shot of phosphorus, and allowing that to continue to develop a root system while it develops that root system, then it can go and search for the soil phosphorus from our dry broadcast, the chicken litter in this field's case, that we put on last fall. I do a lot of studies and research on fertility and where to place the fertilizer and stuff. Like, you can tell me what I'm doing wrong or what your ideas are, but it is not an afterthought. Like, I put a lot of thought into that whole process. Ground is so hard in East Indiana, we can't even get the planter in the ground in our no-till. Yep, I buy it. I believe it. Used to plant beans in 6-inch rows, old McCormick seeder. Yeah, 7.5 is fairly common still. Not as much as it used to be, but a lot of the guys with the old John Deere drills, the 750s, 1560s, 1590s, even the air seeders, were on 7.5-inch spacings. We used to plant in that, and then we kind of blocked off every other row and went to 15-inch with the drills, the old drills that we had before we bought our 15-inch row bean planter, and we really like those 15-inch rows. So, seeing pics for irrigated field. Is there a small grove of trees on the opposite side of the river? Is there a reason it's not farmed? Small grove of trees on the opposite side of the river. I don't know of any trees on the opposite side of the river. There is some trees on the same side of the river. There's a little woods in the one corner of that field. The neighbor's got some fence rows and stuff. So I don't know what you're talking about up there. Over on the opposite side. I don't know. I mean, there's another woods over there, but it's not on our farm, so. How deep do you anticipate your well will be, and how much gallons per minute do you need? I'm anticipating it being maybe around 100, potentially up to 130 feet deep. I'd be surprised if we have to go deeper than that. And we need about 200, I'm going to say 250 gallons a minute would be ideal. If we can get that, I'd be really happy. Have you planted the new field? We have not planted that field yet. It's wet. It needs tile. And it's got wheat growing. We're going to have to run the chisel plow over it, and then the field cultivator. That's very likely going to be the last field that we plant. Use 10L in mostly dryland ground, little under pivot, and use 12S for under pivot. Can't wait for end result. Yeah, that's how I would do that too. 10L is a phenomenal hybrid, but 12S under a pivot is hard to beat. I did not plant any 10L in our irrigated field. I used 12S and 11V. I'm really curious to see what the 11V does underwater. I have not really had it underwater in the past, but it has been my dryland go-to best corn. So we planted 3 boxes of it this year. I think that's such a good corn for me. You're gonna put the pipe from the well to the center of the field and with the backhoe, or get someone to trench the pipe in. Dad's actually talked to our tile guys. They're probably going to bring their ditching machine over and use that to create a trench for us. Doesn't really have to be on grade. We'll put it in deep enough to be below the frost line. So we probably could backhoe it in if we wanted to, but be a little cleaner with the trencher. And if we do cut any tile, it'll be easier to fix them. So 640. I don't know what that 640 means. Better contact Salford for a demo on the high-speed tillage. Yeah, okay. I would like to upgrade some tillage equipment. I don't know if Salford's the way I would go. I would love to run a 2660 from Deere. I think those are really good tools. There's a lot of these high-speed discs around. I've seen them before. I've been around them in the past and kind of done some digging behind them and wasn't really impressed. Maybe I need to give them another chance and look at them again here now 5 years later, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do. So I do think upgrading the Landau and getting a better disc type tool, whether that's one of the high-speed discs, a 2660, something more adjustable, customizable, I think that would be a good thing for us. That said, the Landau, since we put new blades and bearings in it last fall, it's doing a good job. It's working pretty well. It'd be really nice to get another 9R-ish R-Series tractor, RT, RX, whatever, and have another big tillage horse with a bigger disc. I don't know. You pressure check the engine, it'll tell if it's a blown head gasket. Apparently you can. I'm not an engine mechanic. I've never worked on that kind of stuff, so I don't really know all the ins and outs and how to do that stuff. But my Uncle Jack, he was up today and looked at it a little bit and told us what he thought. He was a roadway mechanic for 30 years. He worked on roadway semi-trucks. So I trust his opinion and ability. He fixed the air conditioner on the sprayer today for us, so that was good. 120 acres of wheat underwater from the Mississippi River. Nice. There's not much irrigated wheat around here. Wheat is turning already. Crazy. Had a well drill for our new house. It was 312 feet deep, 22 gallons per minute. Cost was almost 30,000 Canadian. Oh, ouch. That stings. Yeah. 312 deep though. My house well was 130. But we're 7 miles or 3.5 miles. Wow, I was way off. About 3.5 miles from the field where my house was, so that's pretty irrelevant. All right, how we doing here? 43 acres done. Cruising right through it. Singulation is good, 99.3. Gauge wells are 100%. Spacing's at a 0.1, 0.11. Coefficient of variance, 0.1 is good. Population, 34.5. We should have just about the right amount of seed in the tanks. I put a whole box in today when we went to go plant the first 30 acres, and then we came here, and between the two of them, we were supposed to use like 43 units of the 45 in a box, but I upped the population a little bit for this field, so should be awfully close. Are you planting any below ground protected corn this year, or all above only? If yes, do you think you'll have spots of rootworm pressure? I do have some below ground corn. Here's my stance on traded corn. One, I have Roundup corn across the board. I won't plant anything that's not at least Roundup ready. Not that we spray a lot of Roundup in our corn, but sometimes we need to. And this year I'm going to add a lot of glyphosate in with my V5 fungicide because we had some grass weed escapes last year that I wasn't very happy about. And we got a heck of a deal on cheap Roundup that I'm just going to use it. That said, most of the corn that we plant is at least above ground protected, which means that it is resistant to corn borers. So European corn borer is a significant pest that can cause major yield damage or yield problems, yield loss. We have corn that is resistant to it, so when the bug eats it, it dies. It's a BT trait, Bacillus thuringiensis. It's a BT. It's a toxin found in the soil naturally that bugs cannot digest. Doesn't affect humans, but bugs don't have the ability to digest it. It binds to the gut of the insect inside of it, and it basically cuts them open like glass from the inside. My understanding. Anyway, almost all of our corn has that. Some of it has a Viptera trait, VIP3A, which is a broad lepidopteran trait. Protects against things like black cutworm, western bean cutworm, corn earworm, some of the secondary pests that can be really bad, especially the corn earworm, western bean cutworm that can get in ears and cause ear molds, vomitoxin, grain quality issues. That can be a problem. So, yeah, that's in a lot of our corn. And then some of it does have the Agrosure Duracade trait, which is rootworm protection. I don't pick corn based on the trait. I pick corn based on the genetics. Some hybrids only come in a Duracade option, and I want those genetics. That's what we're going to plant. Yes, it's more expensive, but I want the genetics. Some hybrids only come in Agrosure Above, which is above ground, and don't have a rootworm option, and I want the genetics, so that's what I'm going to plant, regardless of whether it has rootworm or not. Some hybrids come in both. Sometimes I pick the Duracade version. Most of the time I pick the Agrosure Above. Depends on the cost difference. If it's $40 or $50 a bag difference in cost, I'm probably not going to pick the rootworm. We do get rootworm here, but not significant rootworm. I have very rarely seen problems bad enough where the corn goosenecks or it goes down or we have major issues. So while I don't mind having a rootworm trait, it's not the top of the priority list when I'm picking hybrids. Make sense? Good. Love your channel. Do you watch The Crop Critic? And if so, do you think you can get 300 bushels per acre? Okay, so I know who you're talking about. I follow him on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and stuff. But I don't watch the YouTube videos. It's all I can do to keep up with the 2 or 3 channels that I do like to watch regularly. I haven't found the time to add more into it, and so no. But do I think I can get to 300? 100%. Absolutely, I can get there. Water is my number one limiting factor, so the most likely place is in our irrigated corn. But I have hit 280 multiple times in the NCGA Corn Growers Yield Contest. It is not that big of a jump to get to 300 from there. Yes, I can do it. I hope to do it this year in our irrigated field with this rain. I hope that the ability to spoon feed nutrients to it on demand as needed, with some tissue tests to help guide me throughout, we'll make that a realistic possibility, and we can do it. But we'll see. Hi from West Kentucky. take any track temps this year. Track where it looks good. I have not done any track temps. We've pretty well got them broken in and aligned pretty good. I do watch the tread for wear and stuff a little bit. The one rear track on the edge has got a little bit, and it's kind of, the rubber's delaminated or just coming apart a little bit. And it's not hurting anything. I don't think it's getting any worse, so I'm not worried about that. I do start to see a little pitting in some of the tread surfaces and stuff, but these are tracks with 800 or 900 hours on them now. They're going to start showing some signs of wear. So nothing excessive, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that I'm concerned about. Getting some nice rains here in central Kansas by some merch people. Nice rains. Ugh. I don't, nice rains is not in my vocabulary in May. But yes, buy some merch. Thanks, Don. I'm glad you're getting some rain. You keep it. Your whole family into farming, or your sisters and their family? Nope. So my two oldest sisters are not really involved in the farm at all. My oldest sister, younger sister, but oldest, she's a English teacher, high school, middle school English and social studies teacher up in northern Michigan. Her husband works for a electric utility supply company and does a lot of, he manages storm crews, lineman crews that do the storm damage, you know, hurricanes and tornadoes, ice storms, whatever storms may happen to hit an area, and they send crews to go and fix it. He manages that side of stuff. My middle sister, she works for Customs and Border Patrol. She's an import specialist, tracking imports coming through the ports. I assume any ports, but she's based out of Port Huron, Michigan. And so that's what she does. And her husband is a police officer, Clinton Township in Michigan, also in the National Guard Reserves here in Michigan. He flies Chinook helicopters, a pilot with them. So they both have pretty good, nice, cool jobs, do well for themselves. And then Anna's she's working for Corteva and their crop protection side. So she's kind of involved in the ag world, but not directly on the farm here. Maybe someday, but we'll see. They went horribly. 3-man engine my tractor lasted all 6 hours before throwing a rod. Oh, that's brutal, man. Please add tall sizes to your clothing. I would love tall sizes. I need tall sizes. I don't know that they have them at Farm Focused. Like, I will throw that request out there. But yeah, I haven't seen them on anybody's stuff, so it would be nice. Stuff getting mudded in there. Yeah, we're doing a little bit of mudding. Not ideal conditions, but they're not horrible. Most of the field's planted pretty good. There are a few spots, though, where we probably shouldn't be out here. Most of it's good. Most of it is good. The bean ground is all good. It's going in good. It's just the fields that we have left to plant corn they're not tiled and they're not dry. I got across the river over there on the other side of those trees. I've got another 65-acre field and a 15-acre field they're wet. I'm hoping we can get to them soon. I was kind of hoping Dad would go there with the field cultivator after he got done with this one. He didn't. But that's okay. And then we've got a 95-acre field back across from another one that I planted today that it's wet. I was there yesterday. It's not even close. It's wet. We've got the new farm down the road it's wet. It's probably going to be the last thing we plant. And then I've got about 110 or 15 acres north and east of here, 10, 12 miles from here. They're not great farms. They're not well-drained farms. They're not horribly wet. Like, those are probably next after the stuff next door here. But they weren't ready yesterday when I looked. So, and it's supposed to rain tonight. If it doesn't rain tonight, maybe we can go there tomorrow. Corn 2 inches tall in Monroe County. Nice. Most of our early corn is starting to come out of the ground. It's looking pretty good. I went and did my emergence flagging again tonight. You saw that in yesterday's video, or this morning's video. We were up to, what did we get? It's 7 yesterday, 13 today, so we're up to 20 of the 32 plants emerged, which I was a little disappointed in, but we'll see how tomorrow goes. raining in Illinois. Just started planting soybeans. Started planting corn. Used any of that liquid chicken fertilizer yet? No, I have not. The plan is to use that down to Berkey. I'll explain why when we get there, but yeah, I have not used any of that yet. I'm not looking forward to that. That is not going to be fun to use. Ugh. Have all our soybeans planted. Nice. Just started planting corn. You have all your beans planted. Got it. Seeding as well. Nice. Farm in southeast Missouri. Got 120 acres of wheat underwater from the Mississippi River. Yes, I read that comment already, man. Water's 50 feet deep here. Yeah, 8 feet deep to water nonstop. I know what you guys got. We don't have that over here. We've got water, but it's a little deeper. All right, now what do I do? What do I do? We got a big wet spot. We got to go around. We're gonna get ourselves into some trouble here. Let's have some fun. Big wet hole in the middle of this field. It's one where Brock knows very well. Nobody called me out for being mean to Brock in this morning's video. Surprising. I wasn't really mean to him, but he did make a comment about him getting the tractor stuck. Nobody said anything. Is that 360 rain run all day, every day? It will run all day, every day, all by itself, or fully autonomously. That's the best thing about it. Yes. Now when it rains, we shut it off. Maybe. Depends on how much it rains. Alright, guidance. Set track. New track. AB curve. Oh, I don't know if we're gonna make this turn. Hit the brake. Oh, yeah, we're in trouble now. Put planter in the trees. Oh, nope, we're good. Just don't jackknife, don't hit that tire, Okay, we made it. Straighten her out. Put the planter in the ground. Go. Start. Got her. 24-row planters are more maneuverable than you might think. I get to question a lot about how we plant corners. You guys out west that don't use starter think I'm crazy for pulling a tank, but they're very common around here. Lots of guys do it. I'm not by no means the only one. Because you don't know how I plant the corners. Well, you can't harvest and side dress the corners anyway. What difference does it make? You guys should know. You don't even plant your dry lane corners. You just let them go and run the circles. You don't have corners. See? That's the difference. I'm joking a little bit. I am pretty good at getting into the corners with a 24-row planter with a tank behind it. I attempted to show you in today's video right before I started recording this live stream, but I want to put the drone up sometime so you can watch me. I leave probably a 40 by 40 square in every corner. Well, like I said, you can't harvest it very good. You can't side dress it very good. What's the point? And it's not going to grow anyway, especially if it's a corner like the one I'm pulling into that's got trees on two sides of it. The animals are going to destroy it. I don't care that we don't plant the corners. We've never planted corners that I can remember. Even when Dad was playing with a 6-row, he left the corners. But we pull up into the trees here. We lift up the planter. Bag her up. Watching my camera to see when my tank starts getting crooked. Right there. And then we switch directions. Oh, dang it. Dang it. I forgot to push done on my AB line curves, so now I don't know if my auto steer's going to work very good. That seems to. Nope, not gonna. Dang it. Alright, well, we get to freehand this one. Shoot. This is going to be awful. That is the downside to trying to record AB lines every time. If I back up before I hit done, the line doesn't work, doesn't save, and then I have no mark. I have nothing to go on. I can just kind of watch out there, and I can watch my screen here. And if I'm overlapping, it'll paint it dark blue. If I'm not covering it all, it'll leave a gap. So we can kind of tell from that. I'm not getting it within 2 or 3 inches, I can tell you that much. Especially on a curve. Right now we're overlapping about the whole row. But we're in the back of the field, nobody's going to see it. Well, don't tell anybody, okay? Started no-tilling soybeans today, 7.5 air seeder works for us. Yep. Nothing wrong with that. Most corn hybrids nowadays need potassium. Not trying to tell you how to farm, just love your videos. What makes you think that I'm not putting any potassium on? Because 1034O doesn't have any in it? Correct, it does not. You know what does? My 618.6 that's in my pop-up. Yeah, that's got potassium in it. You know what else has potassium in it? Chicken litter. Put lots of that on. Potash. We put lots of that on. Like, I'm not just using 1034O as my only source of fertilizer, man. It's a component. Alright, now we got a little gap to fill in here. This is going to be so ugly when I come back to side dress this. Who in the heck planted this? That's what we're going to say. Same thing with the combine. Who in the heck did this? I did. It was me. I did it. Have serious radio. They can, but I don't have a subscription. Since I started making YouTube videos, I don't listen to the radio anymore, ever. I don't listen to it in my truck. I don't listen to it in the tractors. I don't listen to it in the shop. I just don't like listening to the radio at all. And it started as I can't have it on in the background when I'm making videos because copyrights, and it's ended up like I don't want to listen to music. So, I don't, ever. Alright, let me try and turn the camera around here and show you guys kind of what we were doing there. So we've got this big wet hole here that goes all the way over there to those trees. So I had to fill in this, and we had no guidance line to do so. And now we got past this end. We were planting up there and had to do those ends. I had to do the end rows in front of the woods all the way over to the corner over there. That's the one that the guidance line didn't record. And now we're planting here. We're going to dead end to this little thing, wet spot, peninsula that comes out from the filter strip from the river because there's water there. We're going to finish planting this, and then I've got one pass over here that's not getting planted, and we'll take that back up and fill in the front up there. That's where we're at. Probably should wrap this one up pretty soon. We're an hour into this live stream, so we do have 350 of you watching. Oh, that's pretty good. What do you think about the new John Deere planter fertilizer system that pulses only on every seed? Yeah, okay. So I get it. It's cool. But why? Like I've been talking a lot here about fertility needs, right? Like our plants need fertilizer. They need, let's see, they need nitrogen, they need potassium, they need phosphorus, they need lots of things. All of those things are part of my overall fertility plan, whether that's the fall broadcast, the starter on the planter, or the side dress that we use. And so when I am factoring in how much starter to use, like my 5 gallon per acre in-furrow rate of the product that I am, I'm adding up the pounds of nutrients that are in that and contributing it towards what I need per acre on everything. So if I cut my fertilizer rate by 2/3 or 1/3 or half or whatever it is, because I'm only pulsing it for 2 inches on the seed and not the whole stream, all that's doing is meaning I'm putting less fertilizer on, which means I have less pounds and I have to replace them somewhere else. And I get that maybe it's trivial and it's not that much or that big of an amount, but it's still something. Like, I need those pounds of fertilizer out there. So I don't know why there's such an advantage to this exact shot system. I struggle to see the usefulness of it a little bit. I did, so I'm assuming you're asking me because Millennial Farmer's running it on his planter this year. And I did find it quite interesting that he said that he could fill up his 600 gallon tank and it would basically plant for him all year. That has some merit. Like, I'm kind of like, oh, well, if I could put all of that into my dry broadcast in the fall and not have to carry it on a planter so that I can be done, or, fill less and everything else, like, okay, now all of a sudden we're like, yeah, I see some value here. So that's nice. But I don't know. Any new corn hybrids that you were selecting this year that you're excited to see what they do? Yes, kind of. So I have the ability to plant some of the new stuff that's actually new for 25, stuff that will sell this fall for the first time. And there's a 103 day that is being talked up like it is the greatest thing ever. Usually when that happens, they flop. But I'm pretty optimistic that this 103 is going to be really, really good for us. So, yeah, we'll see when we get to harvest, I guess. But I got a few bags of that we got planted, and I got a few more to plant. It came in late here. Outside of that, new hybrids, I've got a new 110 and a new 103 day this year that we planted. Had a little bit of them out last year. Got a box of each of them this year that we'll see what they do. The 110 looks pretty good. It's trying to replace the 10L16 that I've been planting for a long time and really happy with. I don't know if it's going to do it for me or not, but we'll find out. And then there's a 103 day, the 03B19. It's it looks promising. Did pretty well last year in the plots and the field situations that I saw it in, but with a new 103 coming for next year, I don't know how much of a fit it has. Go to all my corn and finish the soybeans tonight. Nice. Does Deere recommend replacing the seat belts on an interval? Not really on a set interval. You inspect them every 100 hours or whatever it is, or annually. If there are excessive wear, bristles missing, cut, chunks of the belt out, stuff like that, then you got to replace them. But their standard for replacing them is, in my opinion, pretty low. Like, you got to have quite a bit of wear for them to say, yep, those are wore out, you should replace them. Okay. Remember to like and subscribe. Yes, please do that. What do we do here? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We curve it? We curve it? Nope, we're going to leave it. We're not going to curve it. A little off. There's going to be a 15-foot gamble on this edge for a little bit. All right, we got another spot where we got to do some end rows, so we're going to set a track, new track, maybe curve, track 4 this time. Yeah, that's no big deal. As soon as we get up here and it starts to curve, we're going to start to new track, record. Curving. So this planter has turn compensation on it, which is a really cool thing, that it will speed up the meters that are on the outside of the curve, moving a little faster. It'll slow down the ones on the inside of the curve. Same thing with the in-furrow fertilizer, so that your rate stays consistent. Because if they were all putting out the same amount of seed, the outside rows are moving faster than the inside rows, and your rate would be off. And the fact that it does that is just blows my mind. It's really cool. Tell us about your dart ball board I see in your shed. We have a league in Southern Indiana. So back in the day, like when I was in junior high, maybe into high school, I played with the men's league in our church. We had a dartball league, and we would play. And then it kind of quit after a few years, and they were cleaning out the church last summer, trying to get rid of old stuff, and the dartball board was in the list of the throwaway pile. And I'm like, oh no, I'm taking that. If you're going to throw it away, I am taking it home. So I claimed it, and it's cool. And the boys like to play it. It's kind of in the way, but once we get the seed stuff out of there, we can set it up a little bit. I just hang out there and throw some darts. I am terrible at it. But yeah, it's kind of cool. That's where it came from. Have you planted the new field of corn? We have not planted the new field of corn. It will go to corn, assuming I can do it before the 10th of June, but we have not done it. I pushed done. I remembered. I hear your tractor rev up and slow down. Is that fancy dancy custom manual full auto tranny at work? It certainly is, yes. This tractor has an IVT in it, so like when I put it in gear and go to back up, it speeds up. When I park on the ends, it pretty much just idles down. It's going to change based on how it's pulling up the hills, all the different stuff. Another little short end rows here. I need lights pretty soon. Well, that was not... That didn't track straight, but whatever, it's fine. How many acres total do you farm up there? I love the videos. We're a little over 3,000 acres. Does the 360 range shut down if you get rain, or do you have to do that? I'm pretty sure I have to do that, but I can control it from my phone. I can't control it from my phone because I don't have an iPhone, but I can control it from my iPad. How much did Phil get done today? He had 95 acres. He was pushing 100 acres when I started here. He's got to have more than that done now, but I don't. He had an oil leak he was fixing, or had to fix. It took a little time, and then track 4. I had to load seed and was switching fields. He works today, not every day, but he worked twice as much as me today, and I'm going to plant more than him at the end. Maybe the same amount. It's just the way it goes sometimes. No, he's doing a really good job. We're keeping the beans moving. We're well over halfway done on the beans. We're well over halfway done on the corn now as well, so feeling pretty good about that. Where's Brock at? Thought he was going to be more involved on the farm. Supposedly he's coming tomorrow, but I haven't seen him since whatever day it was last week he was around. I don't know. He's been busy. I don't know if he's working more at... He's working at like 2 or 3 other places. One of them supposedly is full-time that he was going to be cutting back on or something. I don't know. I don't really know. He's been here a couple of days when we've been in the fields and busy, but then he's been not here a couple of times too. So today, I don't know if it would have helped much to have him around because with that 8430 not being used, and I guess now we would have it going. So yeah, it would have been nice. Hopefully we don't get a ton of rain overnight, and maybe we can do something tomorrow. He'll be around. It's what it is. He's more, I don't want to say that. He's more valuable in the fall than in the spring. We need more help in the fall than we do in the spring. But it is nice to have 2 tillage tractors moving. We're all waiting for you to blame Brock for the 8430 and miss the getting stuck comment. Yeah, I don't think it's Brock's fault on the 8430. I would blame him if I could. Alright. Man, to get pumpkins planted. She did. She planted a bunch more yesterday. I don't know if she's quite done yet or not, but she's gotten a lot done. Why not just round the corners? I don't like making sharp curves. First of all, if I can't harvest and planting them straight, there is no way, or side dress them, there's no way I can do it rounding them. And a 24-row planter, the inside rows would be such tight curves that there's no way you would be able to harvest with the rows or follow that curve or side dress them. It's just not, it's hard on equipment to make those curves. Like, I'll plant curves along an edge that are gradual curves, but to do a 90-degree corner like that, no way. I don't turn with the planter in the ground on a 90-degree corner. Your radius would have to be so wide to keep the inside units from going backwards that it'd be a really wide turn anyway. I'm going to miss more than what I do now. Still planning on using anhydrous to side dress? Yes. Someday we're going to talk about that. Just haven't got there yet. Is the new ground ready? Nope, it's wet. It's wet. You watch other YouTubers. I watch Zach, Millennial Farmer, and I watch Brian Brown. Those are my two favorites. Catch a video from some other guys every now and then, but those are the two that I pretty much watch everything they put out there. Did John Deere fix auto track when side dressing across two separate planter passes? Well, I don't know yet, but they told me it was going to be part of an update that I have already installed, so I am anticipating it being updated, the auto path. It'll be interesting to see, though. Who wants to sit here looking at you with your somewhat negative attitude? Well, I mean, there's 350 people watching, so you're free to leave, Steve. How's the sweet corn doing? Have you planted the second planting yet? I was hoping to plant the second one yesterday, and I never got a chance. Didn't get time, or even on Saturday, so I have not, but the first stuff is all up and out of the ground. Looks great. I'm really happy with that. What percentage of your ground is owned versus rented? Well, that gets a little complicated because technically the farm rents 90%, 95% of it. The farm operating entity owns very little ground. Now, the family and other operating LLC, or not operating, but land-holding LLCs, owns lots of ground. So family controlled, I'd have to go through and add it up, but we're close to half or a little more owned, I would say. Quite a bit. Can you explain the layout of the 360 rain with the riser on the field? How do you connect the 360? Well, you put a riser in the middle of the field and you bolt the end of the hose right to it. That's how. It's hard for me to explain. You can Google 360 rain and watch some of their videos. They do a pretty good job of explaining it. I will do my best once we're actually operational. So it's sort of hard to do without being able to visualize it. Talked about it. Yeah, no real update yet. We're going to talk about it sometime. Adam, thank you for that super chat. That's very generous of you. Very much appreciated. Thank you. You get your well drilled yet? So the well driller is on site. When I was up there at 4 o'clock, they had not yet started though. So should have a well this week. For wide drops on the rain being spaced for 30-inch rows, will 15-inch beans ever be planted in the irrigated field again? Well, I haven't planted 15-inch row beans up there for a long time anyway, but the short answer is no, and not for the reason that you think. We could put diffusers on there and split it to 15-inch rows to cover the whole thing and cover that, and it would be fine. However, you'll remember that I have to have a GPS receiver on my planter to map the planter passes. And I do not have one on my bean planter. And if you use a 40-foot planter, they actually use an 80-foot boom on the rain to match two planter passes versus the 60-foot that matches my single planter pass with the 24-row corn planter. It would take quite a bit of effort to use the bean planter up there for beans. It's much easier just to plant them with the corn planter and do the 30-inch rows. Plus, that field is well tiled and a little bit lighter ground where we shouldn't have a trouble getting them planted by the 10th of May. Doesn't mean we won't, but we shouldn't. Chicken bones are a great slow release of calcium, so you got that going. Yeah, we got lots of that going. We're awful slow. You're going to get a front boom sprayer and fungicide yourself. Eventually, yes. Not for this year. Maybe for next year. I don't know. Would putting high-speed row units on the bean planter be a better option than buying a whole new planter? Probably not. No. Probably not. It would be an option, but we're starting to have lots of little hydraulic issues, and the valve block on there needs rebuilds, and there's just a lot of little things with the frame side of it that you don't get new when you rebuild a planter like that. And so we'd rather update. I'm sure that Phil would love to go to hydraulic downforce. I got a low seat bib, so We might run out of seed here. I have to go out and level stuff off. We only got, what do we got? 67. Less than 10 acres to go, so hopefully they're just a little uneven. We're probably going to wrap this up. What was the trouble on the 8430? I'll go through it one more time here real quick, but we're thinking that it was just low on coolant. Don't think it's a head gasket yet. The pressure tank had no coolant in it. When I'm done here, go back and watch the first part of this live stream. In the first 10 minutes, we talked about it extensively, but we're going to hook it back up to the disc and run it some more and see if we continue to have problems or not. 1950 Saggy sprayer for sale in Tecumseh for $1,200. Yeah, it's not going to work for me. How many acres do you have left? It was 360 plus 280 minus 70 that I've got done here. So whatever that adds up to. You and Brian are my favorite to watch. Thanks, Roger. Yeah, Steve. I don't know if you were agreeing with them or what, but whatever. I agree on the tight curves. My family's senior farms not far from you. Like Senior Farms and Reading? I know those guys, kind of. Hi from Illinois. Hi, Carrie. All from Washington State. I think Steve is really Brock. Yeah, it could be. 10th of May. It's the 13th of May. It's the 13th. You mean June? No, I mean May. DB60 on 20-inch rows. That would be a good planter. How high will corn and beans be before you can start the 360 rain? They don't have to be very big. I don't know exactly. Whenever it's dry. If there's no coolant in the oil and no oil in the coolant, probably not a head gasket. Yeah, and I don't think we have that. So hope it works out to be a cheap fix. Thanks. Good luck this year, bud. Not farming. But also on YouTube, you're very underrated. And some of your videos have helped me farm. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Glad I made it to the stream. You did, but we're about to end it, man. Sorry. Yes, Senior Farms Reading. He used to actually be a dealer for the seed company that I sell for when I was a rep. Like, he was one of my dealers. Been a long time since I talked to them guys, though. So, all right, guys. That's going to wrap it up because I got to go out and make sure seed tanks are level, and I'm going to need to record that for tomorrow's video so you guys can see it. So, thanks for watching this one. Thanks for all the questions and participating. What brand of well pump are you going with? I have no idea. Whatever they put in. I'm not being picky. I'm being as easygoing and easy to work with the well driller as possible. Planting beans in western Kentucky. Been rain delay for 3 weeks. I'm sorry, man. Good job, bro. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Have a great night. We'll see you guys in the morning with a video from today. Supposed to be raining tomorrow. I don't know what's going on. I bought something, though, that I'm going to show you, and we'll fold some boxes, and we'll do some cleanup, and yeah. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. See ya.